Well, a family-run mortuary like our own, we have more control of what we can and can't do. Of course, it's the Walmart against the local competitor feeling even in our industry too. Here at the mortuary, we've got comparable caskets for the same price. But is it going to, the bottom line, would it affect our business? Sure, because people just suspect that the Walmart casket is cheaper and they'll go to that before they come to us. You know, I think you just get a better form of service because we are in your community.
We always do what's best for the family and may not always be best for our bottom line, but you have to treat people the right way. You have to care for them and care about them. And that's what we do. The large corporations are real concerned about the bottom line and what they're doing, so I think it's a different attitude.
That's one thing about the funeral industry is because it's so old, it sort of works how it always used to work. We still do things with a typewriter here. We type up death certificates on the typewriter. We are just now in process of getting a website. And we're only doing it truthfully because the other funeral homes have them, and so to compete, we need to do that.
Funeral directors are slow to, like a lot of businesses, to embrace new technologies and things. We're working right now making funeral arrangements on a computer.
We can put our obituaries online, and we can have people sign guest books online, so you know, the elderly sister that's in Idaho or Iowa, if they can't make it to the service, they can write what they want to the family.
All of our family centers and chapels have big screen TVs in it, so we can play videos, and even through visitation we play scenes of the ocean and those kinds of things. People can kind of choose. More and more families are choosing some kind of personalization with memorial tables and special music, and sometimes they'll have videos. Because of the computer, you can engrave stones with scenes on them. Everything is personalized. Caskets can be personalized. You can have your picture engraved on a casket or the vault. And people want something that's very personal to them. I mean, we do things like little thummies, and they put a little jewelry piece that has that person's real thumbprint on it, you know, that we digitize, and they do it. There's even markers that have little televisions in them that you can, you know, push a button and watch a little video scene of the person's life. There's all kinds of things. It's just going to be more and more and more prevalent in funeral services. They'll integrate into all aspects.
Somebody was leaving, I forget what line of work he'd been into, and he was going into funeral service because it was, quote, recession proof. And you know, and people say, oh, well, you know, people are always going to die. Well, that's true, but what they do afterwards is very different than what they used to. You know, 30 years ago, everybody was buried, and you could assume that it was going to be probably pretty much about $10,000 to $15,000 to do that, from the funeral home expenses to the cemetery expenses combined. Nowadays, the cremation rate in Eugene is about 87%, which is enormous. Many people these days scatter, and that's because it's free. So it has to do with people's belief systems, but oftentimes it comes down to a cost issue as well.
When times are tough, people don't have the monies that they do when times are good. And so when they come to the funeral home, they possibly will select a less expensive funeral or memorial service. Some people might even choose to cremate as opposed to bury. There are certain things you can do with cremation that will save expenses.
Is cremation less expensive than a funeral or a burial? And it can be, but at the same time, you can still do a full funeral with a casket and a wood casket and then cremate afterwards. We've been affected a little, as in I don't think people spend as much as they normally do.
So it does affect us.
It's at their time of greatest need. They may be deceased, but they still need to finish up their process, whether that's being buried or being cremated. And their family is at their hour of greatest need. So I really consider it an honor to be of service to somebody at that time, at such an important time in everybody's life.